Good morning, my friends. It is December 30th, 2018, 4:59 a.m., and it is almost 2019. All right, really quick. Wind chill temperatures. Yes, this does not look pretty. Not fun at all. -8 in Maine. We got 6 degrees, between 6 and 12 between Vermont and New Hampshire. New York today was a little warmer than this, about 50% warmer than it is right now. We almost hit 50 degrees today. That changed very quickly. Basically, this video is going to be about what to expect for New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day. And for the Northeast, it's not looking pretty. Could be a snow situation, could be a rain situation, but it will be one or the other. So it's going to be soggy. It's going to be hard to travel. It's just not going to be what you really want to bring the new year in with, especially New York City where the ball drops. Chances are it's going to be raining. As many of us watch that on a yearly basis, it's not going to be your normal clear sky New Year's Eve ball drop. It's going to be raining. It's going to be just not fun. Let's just put it that way, and let's look at why. So we have a system that is moving in from the upper west. This system is probably more than likely going to plateau out in the middle of the U.S. because we have a low pressure system also coming from the Gulf moving up. So our jet stream currently has dipped down like this, and it's coming right up this direction. So it's allowing warm, moist air to come up here, but then the down dip in the jet stream is allowing the cold Canadian air to come down, and these two are going to mix. So we're going to have a snowstorm on the back end of a low pressure moisture system, which could end up being what's the next name on the winter storm list? Winter Storm Fisher. Now, I've learned a little bit about what determines the names of these storms. Now, it's either one of two things, at least that I heard. Now, if a winter weather warning or an ice warning covers 400,000 square miles, whether that be one state or multiple states, if it's 400,000 square miles, that will receive a name. Also, if it's a little more tight-knit of an area, but 2 million people live in that area, they will also name that a winter storm. So it goes by population and or the amount of land covered by a winter weather advisory. So maybe, hopefully that explains a little bit to some of you that didn't understand exactly why they name storms. They started doing it in 2012 for whatever reason. I believe last year we made it to letter X. It may have been Xavier. I know they use Xavier a lot, but nonetheless, that does not matter at the moment. Again, what I want to talk about is what we're going to expect New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day. And again, the Northeast, it's just not going to be fun. So we have this system moving in right now. You're going to see in Tropical Tidbits, it's going to kind of stay in a bow type shape because of the moisture coming in from the Gulf, and you're going to see them meet right around here. We're going to get some severe weather in Louisiana especially, and maybe some of our normal tornado alley type situation, because the strip of severe weather you're going to see wants to move up through Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, like we usually see. Not as much towards Florida because of that El Nino we've been dealing with. So let's take a look at it. This is the end result, by the way. This is New Year's Day, the day after tomorrow, basically. So here we go. Let's take a look at this and how it forms. So you can see here the that first storm that we're talking about, that low pressure system, which we showed right here, is now already putting winter weather advisories in Montana. We got Idaho involved in there. We got Wyoming, Colorado, Utah. All parts of these states are under winter weather watches right now as we speak. So we can just watch this part of that storm swing down in this area, and then watch what happens when it meets the warmer air that comes up from the Gulf, because our jet stream is going like this right now. It's coming down, and then it's coming up right here. So the warm air is allowed to come up this way because the force of the jet stream stops here. So all the cold air is coming down where the jet stream is allowing it to. And then while that wall of the end of the jet stream is here, that's allowing the warm, moist air from the Gulf to come up. But then they're going to meet right over the northeast as they always do. And let's watch that happen. So as we move through the 30th, this is the first 6 hours of December 31st. You can already see that moisture moving up through the Gulf. We could see the L here for the low pressure system that's moving in from the upper west. And now this is the second 6 hours of New Year's Eve. We could see some severe weather just starting to extend. Looks like northern Mississippi into Tennessee. That could be something to watch out for. Again, it's going to be a lot of rain going on here in already saturated areas. We see a snow and rain mix up here in Minnesota and parts of South Dakota. But as we move forward, guys, this is very quickly. This is all within a day. So here is the 12th hour going into New Year's Day. So we could see even more severe weather now. Now this strip here goes from about mid-east Texas through Oklahoma, catches that bottom right corner of Kansas, and then into Missouri. That has the potential for tornadoes because we are still far enough away from this part of the system that we could be dealing with situations where we're still dealing with that west to east trade wind that we always have here, which is what pushes our weather up and then up into the northeast. So, but also check out this too. We also have Arkansas severe weather moving into Tennessee and then Kentucky. Whenever you see these yellows here, there's always potential for tornadoes, especially this time of year, right after hurricane season, winter going into spring. So, next frame, let's go. Now we are in the last 6 hours of New Year's Eve. This is when everyone's counting down, everyone's getting ready to celebrate. Now the severe weather is extending from Missouri through Illinois all the way up to the tip of almost Michigan. We're almost getting into Michigan at this point, but I do not see tornadoes happening in Michigan due to this system here. This could be a named storm. In fact, the name stormed, I learned, is due to the amount of area covered by a winter advisory or the amount of population within an area. So if you have 2 million people living in one state and that state is under winter weather advisories, they will name that a storm. Or if there's not that many people living in that area, it needs to cover 400,000 square miles of land to be considered a named storm. So hopefully that clears up a little bit of confusion about where the names come from. They started in 2012, I believe, naming storms, and we made it to letter X last year. So regardless, though, New Year's Eve, we are going to have some severe weather going right up the Ohio River Valley, right towards the Great Lakes. And just as we get to the Great Lakes, that's when you're going to see the Northeast begin to be affected by this. Now, this is January 1st. Again, New Year's Day, we got that winter storm behind it. An ice and rain mix stretching from Iowa over the northern part of Illinois and the southern part of Wisconsin and then into the Great Lakes. But that central part of the low pressure, as you can see, is right over Indiana and Ohio. So that's why you see that severe yellow there. That's going to be quite an issue for those traveling in that area or anyone that lives in that area. And now the last thing we need to look out for is what's going to happen at the end of New Year's Day, which is right around here. Now, how much of this moisture is going to get swung because these are counterclockwise systems because we're in the northern hemisphere, everything is counterclockwise moving. How much of this warm moisture is going to get brought up into the colder Canadian air and then brought back down across the Great Lakes, causing a lake effect situation? According to the data we have right now, it looks like it's going to be mostly rain. You can see the little pinks up here in the northern edges of New York and Vermont and New Hampshire, but any chunk of hours can change that in a heartbeat. So we need to keep an eye on this. I'll definitely be on top of it. I'm trying to keep this one a quick one. I know it's an early morning and you guys want to get up and get your coffee in you and out to work, but let's see, this last frame here is what I want to talk about. So the last frame of January 1st, New Year's Day. The next one You see this will be out in the ocean. So basically you could see some of that snow wants to get pulled back in. We could be dealing with some upper level snow in New York on New Year's Day. This would be at nightfall basically, so this is towards the end of New Year's Day. Already another system forming around the New Mexico, Texas area. That is snow, guys. That's cold snow because the jet stream once again is dipping here and then re-correcting itself as it makes it up towards the northeast. So we're actually lucking out with this system and this low pressure. 991 is very low, so consider this to be a very windy situation too. There's going to be a lot of wind involved with this system, and then you could see by the end of, sorry about that, by the end of the New Year's Day, this is going to already be moved out towards the Nova Scotia area, still over Maine. There's no doubt about that. And then by the 2nd, it is basically cleared out. Little strips of rain going along the south here from the Panhandle through Georgia and then South Carolina and North Carolina. Nothing crazy, nothing you haven't seen before, nothing worth boarding the windows over or anything like that. But what comes next is going to be interesting because it just seems like we just have these low pressure systems coming up the northeast over and over and over again until as far as this chart reads, basically to January 15th, it seems like every 4 days we have a system that is centralizing over the northeast. So we're going to keep an eye on that closely. And I'm sorry that I'm being quick here, but I wanted to try to get this out before 6 a.m. when a lot of people wake up and get on here to check their weather. Now, this is a 5-day forecast for rain. So between now and January 4th, you can see these deep reds here. Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, we got Georgia in there. Expect to be even more saturated than you are now. It's not fun, but it's what we're going to be dealing with for the next couple weeks at least. As you saw going into January 15th, we were seeing these repeat storms, almost like mimicking storms. They seem to be all the same. It's one low pressure system comes up from the Gulf, another low pressure system comes down from the west. They meet right around the middle of the country, and then boom, they explode all over the mid to east coast of the U.S. and then usually centralize over the northeast. So with that said, guys, here is a GIF graphic showing exactly what I just explained. You can see the greens coming in from the Gulf, the cold low pressure system coming down from the west. They meet, and then you see it circulate over the northeast right there, and that is why we get that lake effect snow, because this moisture gets pulled up into Canada, then back around to the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes are big enough to affect this weather and turn it into snow, which is why you're seeing the Great Lakes covered in purple, which is an ice and snow mix. So you can see that down here, mix likely, and then the darker greens is rain likely, and then any blue you see is snow and snow chances. So we just need to wait and see exactly what this thing is going to do, because it's a little confusing. The jet stream is really affecting minute parts of these weather systems. So we're talking 20 miles in either direction, it could be snowing, and then 20 miles in the other direction, it's raining, and then 20 miles south, you have the sun's shining in the sky. So that's basically what I got for you for now, guys. To verify this is the Weather Channel's version of what I just showed you. Again, they're expecting the system that came in from the west to kind of settle up by the Great Lakes as that Gulf system comes up, and then we get that circulation, and the tighter these rings are, the windier it's going to be. So the higher the wind rate, the more chance that this moisture is going to get pulled into Canada and then brought over the Great Lakes and then back into the northeast. That's what we don't want to see. If we can get away with just rain for this one, I'll take that over snow any day. So I believe that's it, guys. With that said, we got one more little chart here we could show. Okay, yeah, this kind of gives you a direction of what I was just talking about. So the first system brings snow and cold. That came from the west, coming down this way. This is that second system we talked about that is going to be an issue after New Year's Day. But here is that upflow from the Gulf we talked about. And then these systems meet right around here, and then we had that big swirl that went on. And after that swirl happens, it's just a matter of who lives where, and how close you are to the Great Lakes will determine whether or not you're going to get snow or not, or whether it's going to be rain. So, all right, guys, that's what I got for you for tonight. Sorry about the short video. Sorry about jumping around all over the place, but it was a busy day for me. Had a lot to do, and I definitely want to make it a priority to get a video out to you guys. So, thank you, everybody here. Thank you, Caroline, for helping me with the links. As always, I love you. I will see you very soon, and we will talk tomorrow, guys. Have a great morning. Have a great afternoon, and we will meet back here tomorrow evening. Have a great night, day, morning, wherever you may be. Take care. Bye-bye.